All right, welcome back, everyone. This is Ebonie again, a.k.a. Fit Mom Diva of Simplicity Health Style, and today we have Miss Shanea with us. How are you, Shanea?
I'm fine. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being with us. And you guys, she has so much info that she wants to deliver today, jewels that all of us can benefit from. And for those of you that choose to stick around to the end, you'll have an opportunity to earn a complimentary gift for a form of appreciation for sticking around and listening to know what she has to share with us today. So, Shanea, can you just start us off so we get to know you on a more intimate level and share one motivational quote that really inspires you, something that encourages you and gets you going?
I think that a quote by Maya Angelou, the late Maya Angelou, resonates with me in my everyday life. Sorry, guys, I have a cold. So she says, if you do not like something, change it. And if you cannot change it, then change your attitude. I mean, I have seen that throughout my life. I have complained about things without actually trying to change the situation. And then there are some situations that I literally cannot change at all. So I have to change my outlook on how those things are perceived in order to get through them. Some things you just kind of have to deal with, especially like in parenting and relationships. There are just things that I'll be able to change, but by you changing how you perceive them, those things will become a little bit more bearable.
Yeah, and that is so true. I mean, sometimes people can go through the same exact situation, and one person will have this perception of it, and the other person have this perception. And sometimes we use our perceptions and we make progress, and other times we use our perception and we don't make progress. But we have to look at it and say, what is the positive in this? And the more we can focus on the positive in that situation, the better that we feel about it. Because you're right, there are some things that are just totally out of our control. But if we dwell on the fact that, oh, woe is me, well, yeah, woe is you, you know? So I think that, perception has a lot to do with how we make choices in our life. And it has a lot to do with how we're going to feel about what's occurring in our life. Can you talk a little bit about a time in your life where maybe you didn't see the light at the end of the tunnel, and maybe you weren't even able to change your perception about it to a positive, and you felt like everything is just coming against me. I have so many challenges and so many obstacles that I don't even think that this is going to ever come to pass, and I don't think I'm ever going to be able to reach my goal. But at the end of the day, you were able to see that goal to fruition. Can you talk a little bit about an experience in your life where you had to go through those obstacles and those thoughts?
When I think about obstacles and things that I had to get to, of course, the typical thing of school or parenting or even work kind of comes to mind. But there has been a long stretch of my life. I just turned 30 in October of last year, and I have been married since I was 21. So I've been married for a very long portion of my adulthood. And I think that when you marry young, you think that it's all going to be roses and fairy tales, as if what you see on TV. However, once you're actually in it, you realize that personalities, and in my case, different cultures. Although my husband is also Black, he's Black from a totally different country. So there were cultural divides and, not food, but just norms and things that are expected of people that was really difficult to deal with. And it just felt like, what did I get myself into, or what did we get ourselves into? How are we gonna get through this? Is it even worth getting through? So I think that beginning part, and when I say beginning, I mean like 5 or 6, maybe even 7 years, because we're almost 10 years now, were very difficult to kind of work through those challenges. So, of course, one challenge being young, under 25, not really knowing what we wanted out of life in general. Because I mean, being 30, now that I see that, I thought I knew, but there are just so many things I didn't know about myself then that I know about myself now, and like what I would have needed in a partner now versus what I thought an ideal partner was then. Just kind of parenting styles and how to navigate the different types of parenting styles and how it's done in one culture versus how it's done in your family of origin, versus what's right and how you're going to mesh those two ideas together. So, when we first married, it was all exciting and it was all fun, but then it quickly declined. And, it was just more so because I had a certain expectation of what I thought marriage was. However, I had never actually known anyone who was married. So my whole perception of marriage was just built on things that I never experienced before in my life. My parents weren't married. I didn't have any married aunts and uncles or cousins. I'm like the first married person I know, except for those who are friends. So I had to navigate through, what really is marriage, what is a spouse supposed to be versus what I think a spouse is. But more importantly, looking inside of me, I think that marriage is like a tool that kind of brings out all of your toxic behavior and your toxic upbringing and all the things that are bad in you and brings them to the forefront so that you have to deal with those things head on. Because if you don't deal with the things that you have going on, then, it's just not going to be a success. You can't expect things out of other people and you're not willing to do work on yourself too. So Maya Angelou also said, nothing can work without work. And when I think about marriage, I think that that is also true too. So, for a lot of the time, he was putting in a lot of work and I thought I was the one putting in a lot of work. But in retrospect, I really wasn't making many changes. He was kind of changing to accommodate me, but there came a time when I had to kind of face that I was a big part of the problem and kind of work through that toxic thoughts and fantasy ideas that were kind of garnered from watching TV or just listening to what people thought, but not actually knowing.
Yes, I love this topic because so many of us, we enter into different relationships, whether they're marital relationships or they're just regular friendships. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times we're expecting for everything to go like peaches and cream, but really relationships are there to help us learn how to grow and how to love also.
Yes.
So I think that when we can, it's kind of like what you said earlier with perceptions, I think that when we can change the perception of that particular relationship and know that it's meant for us to look within ourselves and see what areas that we have to improve, then we grow as an individual. And then us growing as an individual helps inspire and influence other people around us. And it just creates a ripple effect of everyone just learning how to love themselves, learning how to treat other people, and learning how to accept other people. Now, there's a distinction between you being around someone that's truly, genuinely, just trying their best and you growing along with that person, and someone that's abusive. So we have to separate the really toxic relationships from the ones that are just, we all get upset over petty stuff. So there's a distinction between an abusive, really toxic relationship and one that's there to just really highlight areas that we need to improve. So I think that just understanding that there's room for growth in all of us, because we're not perfect. You can't expect perfection from somebody else. Like you said, when we're not perfect ourselves, right? We're all just doing the best that we can in a lot of these situations. And a lot of it is learned behavior that we can't necessarily, turn off. If you've always been taught your whole childhood that this is what you should be doing in a relationship, or this is how you treat others, or this is how you should run your life, those thoughts don't go away. They're with you because they were with you since you turned 1 year old enough to talk. You don't just turn it off overnight. So I think being patient with each other is key too. Can you talk a little bit about how people can gain support when they're feeling like they're all alone in their situation. So as you talked about, there are other married people, or there are other single people even, that feel like everybody that I know has their own agenda, and everybody I know doesn't know how to support me in the way that I feel like I need to be supported. So can you talk a little bit about how can someone gain support if they're feeling like, I've had this vision in mind, I've had this goal in mind since I was 5 years old, and I know where I want to be, but it seems like the people around me just are not on the same page as I am, and I don't know who else to turn to in order to gain support.
I mean, as far as marriages go, I am a strong proponent of keeping people out of your business. I mean, there are people who, attend church or other types of religious, situations, and they kind of maybe let their pastors or maybe let, close church members into the mix. I mean, we have an older couple who's been married for, like 33 years, older than we are. They met when they were both in the military, and they married after about 5 months. And they are so different. And I don't know how they came into our lives, honestly. But, without actually saying, okay, we're having this problem and that problem. Just to see them interact and how they interact with one another and how they talk about one another and how they talk about their journey of marriage, and other people who have been married for a very long time, because we know, like, us as a couple together, when we moved here, like, we know many people who've been married since, 20s and their 50s and 60s. Including, my husband's old mom, who's around, pretty much 6 months out of the year. I think that having those role models, even if you do not tell them your personal business, it can give you some perspective into maybe some things that you can employ in your own marriage to make things work. So I think having people around who have attained the goal that you are looking to attain, even if you don't feel comfortable opening up to tell them, okay, this and this is happening, what should I do? If you see people who have made it to the goal, whatever that goal is, then you know in yourself that that goal is attainable. So you'll take things from them in order to employ it in your own life, so that if it works for them, why am I trying to reinvent the wheel? Why am I trying to do something new? If we know that this works, then we're going to do this. And I think that there are also people who have gone through your same experiences and they have written about it. And, libraries are free. Amazon is not. But, if you find that a book will minister to you in that way, then buy it and read it. There are blogs out there where people talk about their experiences and it'll resonate with you. I mean, there are people like you, Ebonie, who do these videos and talk about it. I mean, there are so many resources from people who don't even know that you exist, and they're there to support you. So support doesn't always have to be you going to spill all your business out in the streets with people who you think you trust. I mean, and hoping that you'll get the answers that you need. But you might get an answer where someone might say, well, it's time for you to leave, girl. But that's not the goal, is it? The goal is not to leave. The goal is to make it. I mean, of course, disclaimer, if you're not being beaten. If there's just, a situation where cultures aren't meshing up or communication is bad, or maybe your goals in general are not aligning, there's ways to rectify that. So I think that also writing about what you may be going through, even if you don't publish it, is also a way to support. You're supporting yourself. You're getting your feelings out there. And then, if it gets so bad that you say, okay, I don't think that we could get to this goal, let's get some help. Professional help is always there for support. I am a proponent for professional help. Those persons have gone to school. they have studied it. This is what they do. It's their passion. They're there to help you. So for certain things, I think that, friends and family should be there. But for other things, I think that is very important to learn on your own, by observing, by reading, by researching. You can't just sit there and have someone tell you that this is the magic formula, because nobody's marriage is the same. You're going to grab things from different groups of people and put it together, and it might work for you. And if it doesn't work, then you go back to the drawing board. So for me, my support has kind of been self-sufficiency and using, what has been around me without actually, disclosing everything. But I will say that my mother-in-law, who was, bless her heart, married to my father-in-law for a long time before he passed away. And she is very knowledgeable. She's very patient, and she has a lot of the qualities that what I see my husband would expect. So I did learn a lot from her without having to change who I am as a person. So I think that for her, she would be at the top of my pyramid, but those other support systems are there as well.
Yeah, and you said something that was key, and that's that you can pull from different people and apply it to your life as it fits. Not everybody's walk is exactly the same. So being able to decipher, well, that sounds good for my particular situation. I think that there's a level of wisdom that needs to be taken when you're in different relationships and you're taking advice. You can't just take any and everything. You have to really think and discern, does this make sense from my situation? And we can all benefit from each other. I always say that relationships are very much reciprocal. Nobody is better than another. We're just all different. We're on different paths. So being able to recognize that we're all here to help support each other is key. I think that a lot of times what you said is very key too, that support doesn't necessarily have to be in the form of other people. It could be in the form of you reading a book from someone that went through similar situations as you, or you're reading a blog article, or you're looking at a movie, or it could be from different directions in life. But anything that's gonna also help you also look within and see where your challenges and your wrongdoings is helping you grow as an individual, and not just putting blame on the other person too. Can you talk a little bit about how self-care really revitalizes us and helps us to grow in our purpose, no matter what that purpose is, how that helps us to really gain the energy and the vitality to carry out whatever our gifts are and serve others? Because sometimes the relationships that we're in, whether that's we're in just regular friendships, or we're in a marital relationship or a business relationship, whatever it is, sometimes we just feel like we're giving to others, but we're not giving enough to ourselves so that we feel more fulfillment and meaning in our lives. So can you talk a little bit about maybe some challenges that you face with providing yourself with self-care, and what are the benefits? What are the benefits of you taking time for yourself, and how it's going to help you with realizing your overall dreams in the end?
Well, this is a very tricky question. 2 young kids. I mean, although I'm married, I still put a lot into being around as much as I can. So, I work 32 hours, and then I do some things on the side. And then I have 2 young children, 7 and 3. And then, of course, a husband. So a lot goes into the upkeep of the house, making sure, that everything is running smoothly, first and foremost in there. And then I have to put a lot into work, just because that's a reflection of me too. But most importantly, I put a lot into my family. So for me, I mean, it might seem simple and ridiculous, but my greatest self-care is taking long showers at night after everyone is asleep, and maybe writing, maybe reading a book, But I mean, that's not even necessary. If I get that nice long shower that I've kind of like been dreaming about all day, with the and everything clean, everything put up, cooking is done, clothes are washed. Um, in the shower, I get so many great ideas. And I think that's why I look forward to the shower so often. Ideas for books, I get ideas for new ideas to launch, although I don't ever follow through with them. I get so many ideas. And I think that even just having that time to think within yourself can just maybe drive you closer to your purpose. I kind of think without that alone time to just think and reflect, I like this. I don't like this. What if this happened? What if this didn't happen? You're never going to get to that point of, okay, this is where I'm supposed to go, or this is why this has happened. It was in the shower that, I realized, like, for 8 years, I worked in customer service, even with the degrees that I went to school for. I'm like, God, why can't I get out of customer service? Why won't anybody hire me? So then, when I went to this interview for the job that I have now a couple years ago, it just all kind of clicked and made sense after I took the shower, after that interview. And I'm just like, it just all came together for this. I mean, because everything is customer service. Anything that you do is going to entail some level of customer service, whether it's, a call center or whether you're a business owner. Customer service is the number one thing. And without a strong foundation in that, you're not going to go very far as an entrepreneur. Even as, someone in an executive level position, you still have to have a level of customer service and decorum, because you still have customers, stakeholders, and persons that you still have to interact with. So I think that, self-care, whatever it is, even if it's just, I don't know, standing upside down on a wall for 15 minutes, or working out for 2 hours, or washing the dishes with music on, whatever you say is self-care, is give you space to breathe and think and reflect. And without the opportunity to reflect, you won't really understand why things happened in the past. It's going to propel you to the future. So I think that, without that time, you're just not going to get there. And I think a lot of people have an idea of what self-care is supposed to look like. Oh, weekly massages, or $200 mani-pedis, or, retreats to Costa Rica. But it doesn't have to look like that. And if you kind of reframe your perspective of what it's supposed to be, then you'll probably start, reaping the benefits immediately, because you're not expecting it to be something that it's not.
Yeah, and that is so true. I talk to so many people about how they provide themselves with self-care, and it really does look different for everybody. I'll have people that talk about, I like to go to the gym for 3 hours, and I have people that talk about, I like to go paint a picture, and I like to watch Netflix, and I like to go garden, and it looks different for everybody. And it really just amounts to, what is it that you're doing for yourself so that you're providing more meaning to your life? And don't feel ashamed if there are days that go by where you're just so overwhelmed with taking care of family or taking care of yourself or whomever, and you can't provide yourself with self-care on those days. Just get back on and know that the more that you can infuse it into your life, the more meaning you're providing to your life. And a lot of times when we feel good, we have the extra energy to commit to whatever our vision is or whatever our goal is. When we're drained and overwhelmed, do we really feel like taking any extra steps to whatever our purpose and our mission is? No. Just think about when you're not feeling good, when you're sick. Like, you can relate to this right now, Shanea, right? When you're not feeling good, are you necessarily at your best where you feel like going extra? No, you're not.
No.
So the more that you can infuse self-care into your life, the more opportunity that you're giving so that you can live out whatever your vision is and to serve other people at your best. Thank you so much, Shanea, for sharing everything that you shared today. For those of you listening, if you want to be able to share your experiences as well, I definitely welcome you to connect with me. All of my contact info is in the description box, as well as Shanea. So if you want to collaborate with her in any way, feel free to connect with us. for those of you that are listening and you're saying to yourselves, I would love to be able to carry out a vision or a dream or a goal, but I really don't understand my gifts well enough. And I don't understand what my personality type is well enough. And I don't understand how I can integrate all of my life experiences and my career experiences together so that I can begin to make more movement. If you have any trouble in those areas, I have free assessments that I provide to ladies where you can begin to form a better foundation. That way, you're not stuck in this career that you can't stand going to every single Monday, or you can't get past the overwhelm in your job to be able to take any additional steps for yourself, for your specific goal or dream on the side, because you're just so tired and overwhelmed all the time. I can provide you with free resources to help you with your general health and wellness and understand who you are as an individual. If you are not on Facebook, you can collaborate with me in other ways. Just send me a quick email. If you're on Facebook, I invite you into my Nutrition for Busy Women Facebook group. We're not just talking about nutrition from a food consumption standpoint. We're talking about nutrition for the mind, body, and soul. So I invite you to connect with me. Shanea, can you speak directly to people that are listening and they're saying, everything you and Ebonie are saying sounds awesome. And I've heard it all before and it always sounds good, but I'm feeling stuck where I am right now. What can they do right now in this moment in order to create more momentum for themselves?
Wow. I would say take some time to yourself, because you can't do anything if you're in the noise.
Hey, sweetie.
Sorry. If you're in the noise, you don't have the ability to listen to your thoughts or listen to your inner self. And like I said, being alone can just be taking a shower without the kids in the bathroom. And that time, that 10, 20 minutes to literally be there and just kind of be with yourself. So that's why the shower is the place for me.
Yes. Thank you. And I just want to reiterate that, because especially for mothers, as you see, her child is in the camera with us today. Sometimes, children just do their thing and we can't knock them for that because they're children and we did the same thing as children. So being able to find that quality time when they're asleep, other family members are asleep, and just take some meditation and just real quiet, just quiet your mind and just think, who do I want to be in this world? And what can I do? What's the next baby step that I can take to be able to get there? And know that not everything is going to be an overnight success. It's totally okay to go at a slower pace as long as you're making progress, as long as you're making some movement. So thank you. I appreciate those last words. And for anyone that's listening, if you want to be able to share your experiences and share your story, share your challenges, feel free to connect with me, and I would love for you to be able to empower other ladies that may be listening. If nothing that Shanea and I said today resonates with you and you feel like it could benefit someone else, share this content out with them. I strongly appreciate it. And for those of you that want to be able to hear future episodes like this, subscribe to my channel, and I invite you to participate in the discussion. Shanea, thank you so much. I appreciate you, especially with your children around and wanting to fight for your attention today. I appreciate
for having me.
I appreciate everything you shared with us today.
Thank you.
For those of you listening, wherever you are in the world, just always remember to live a life full of meaning and purpose. And I'll connect with you in our next episode. Talk to you soon.